Good afternoon, everyone. Helena here from Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors, and coaches to build a business on your terms. And yeah, you may see that it's just me today. Kelly's not joining us today as she's had a little bit of sad news. And actually, we made a call that this is just a better use of the time for us. So please do join me and say hi. Tell us a little bit about the buzz in your business whilst I get my head around sharing out various bits and pieces for you. So I'm very excited to be here, and I'm really excited to kind of talk to you about the thing that we're talking about today. Which is all around having multiple streams of income. Sort of, we are in uncertain times. So we thought we would really tackle this piece around how we might help you to just expand your range a little bit and see what actually goes on within that. So I'm just navigating some comments and everything else. But I'm going to tell you about a little bit about the buzz in our business. But I also want to know what the buzz in your business is. So are you ready for this one? So, what's the buzz? So, whilst I tell you the buzz in our business, please do in the comments say hi. Don't let me be lonely, and just let me know what's going on, what's exciting and happening. One of the things that is the buzz for us is we love to celebrate, as you well know, and one of the things we're celebrating is our client Carolyn Hobday. For those of you who are inside the Connection Hub, I know that. We'll be sharing this out inside the Connection Hub at the moment as well. But for those of you who are in there, you may well have seen the post that she put out there, and she had her book launch yesterday, and it was amazing. It was featured on TV, it was featured in the national press. She held a virtual book launch. It was a real marking of the occasion, and that is absolutely fantastic. That's really all that we can ask of anybody, is to give your creations the best possible opportunity to really make its mark out in the world. Yes, there's obviously work that needs to be done after that, etc. But there's something really brilliant about marking the occasion, the work that you've put in, the creation that's come from you as a speaker, author, or a coach. We put blood, sweat, and tears into these things. So a big shout out to Carolyn for sure. As I say, Kelly's not joining us today. But one of the things that I was reminded of, so yesterday I was doing a talk in somebody else's group, really around kind of the power of creation and the power of pulling things out of ourselves. And so for those of you who haven't yet really sat back and thought about this year, thought about 2021, what you actually want to do and create in there, I am running my vision board workshop. It's more than a vision board workshop. It's a real wonder shop. And I say that, sort of not. I say that with humbleness, because I'm blown away every single time by the magic of taking some time out to really reflect on what do I want to create, do, be, have, and generate for the year. So if that sounds like an appealing thing for you, I'm going to pop the link in here to just let you know. I'm navigating all sorts of things here, so I'm just going to copy paste this one in and see where this actually sits. Because if you haven't yet done a vision board for the year, or if you've never done a vision board, please come and join me in doing something like this. It is so much more than cutting and sticking and pasting something in there. And it relates to the topic that we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to keep using the we word because, that's just how it is in Speaker Insight world. The Kalena kind of effect is definitely in here. So I want to, I'm reminded that the last one of these that I did was also around the financials, where I was actually running this by myself. So maybe you just get me talking to you about how to run the financials in your business. Maybe that is actually what it is. So as I say, feel free. I've got your comments kind of coming up here. I'm probably not going to like them until I actually finish, because that feels like a little bit too much for me, but that's all okay. So let's talk about this whole multiple streams of income. First off, if you have already got some multiple streams of income, please do let me know what. I'm just going to pop this in here and actually watch this live so that I can actually see some of your comments coming in. There we go. Beautiful. So if you are already employing kind of multiple streams of income, let me know, because that's actively going to be quite a good place to come from, and inspiration from others is always a good thing around this. Because here's the thing, time really is the most important asset that we have, and one of the key things that we actually teach about, that Kelly and I teach about in Speaker Insight, is this idea of creating a portfolio business. You may have heard us say this over and over and still go, what does that mean? But a portfolio style business is one where you can really leverage your time and create new income streams, one of which should absolutely be digital, because it removes you from the equation, but it allows your information to still go out in the world. And that's really important. In doing it, I do a fair amount of reading, as you can imagine, and in doing some of that reading, most self-made millionaires really do have many streams of income. Tom Corley wrote a book called Rich Habits quite some time, a little while ago. He took 5 years out to kind of study the rich and the poor, relatively speaking. And one of the things that he found more than anything was that this idea of having multiple streams of income, different forms of income coming in to your household, to your world, absolutely is what allows you to have more freedom available to you. What's interesting is that most self-made millionaires, 65% of them had at least three different types of income coming in. 49% had four coming in, and around about a third of them, 29-30% of them, actively had 5+ different streams of income coming in. So we wanted to really kind of help you understand this concept of multiple streams of income, because when one income stream suffers, the others make up for it. And we want you to be in the most robust and sustainable position, especially because, in these times that we're in, we've seen so many people be really affected by COVID-19 and all of the things that were actually going on around it. As speakers, authors, and coaches, many have been reliant on, live events. That was just part of the business model in which it was actually set, or they would be required to actually physically be in place with their clients. And so in these times, it's really more vital than ever to, that we don't have all our eggs in one basket. So today, I'm just going to be sharing with you just a little bit around what that means and how we can all add more to our pots or our jars. If you're a T. Harv Eker fan, you'll know what I'm talking about. He sort of talks about having the 6 jars that you can actively divide up your income into, that sort of sits quite nicely and allows you to it's in his Millionaire Mastermind book, but it allows you to really thank you, Uma, nice new border, yes, we like that. But really, this idea of actually having different pots of money and having different pots that receive the money that comes in is a really good one that you can start to take on. Obviously, we given how Kelly and I love structure, get one sorted, put the next one in, get one sorted, put the next one in. But to actually have parallel tracks, parallel pots sitting there is a really good thing. So, the percentages that you actually put into those pots or that come from those pots can be handled in that way. So, before I go any further, I love a definition. So, Uma's saying, how about I start witnessing as an additional stream, or receptionist? That's waitressing, not witnessing. I was like, oh, what does that mean? Good, thank you for clarifying. But yes, that's exactly it. It's literally this whole, what is an entirely different source of income that you can start to bring in that means that you've got robustness in the business. So we're going to talk exactly about that around what you might be able to put in. So that's exactly it. So Uma, May, you're on it. I don't know why I called you Uma. How much fun can you have with that? So let me just clarify first off. Multiple streams of income, when we define it, when we talk about it to our clients, what we're really talking about is sort of this diversifying of your income, the maximizing the potential in every category that might be available for you, that utilizes your skills and or your desire, your ambition in some way. Because if one of those income streams suffers because of, sort of the world events that we've just had, that's definitely had an impact on many, then you can still continue doing what you're doing because those other income streams also kick in. And I like to liken it to a little bit of a mixing desk. It's like you can ramp up the bass and you can bring down the drums, or you can pull in the guitar a little bit more, so that you actually have this balance of where you're spending your terms, your time, your energy, your resources, your money to make money. Sort of one of the best questions I absolutely know and that we ask our clients all the time is how are you making money make money? And so that's one of the things that we're also going to do. I'm just going to say that again, just because I'm aware I'm speaking quite fast for some reason. How do you make money make money? And that's part of what we really want to do here. Multiple streams of income are definitely a way that you can make money make money. So this is all about you really using the talent that you have in several ways. So let me give you an example of that I know a couple of people who have definitely very successfully done this. They love to write, they are the writers. So for example, they do a lot of blogging, and they've monetized that blogging in terms of having successful blogs that are out and doing all sorts of things for them in the world. But they've also diversified with that. So they've got the blogging as one of the streams. But the second stream is actually teaching others, because they've been successful at it, teaching others to actually be blogging as well, or how to set that up, or sharing creatively in a way that actually lets them get paid as guest contributors in magazines and things like that. So that's using the same talent or skill, but in two different income streams that are not directly affecting each other, which means if one of them goes away, the other one still stays. And that's really what we're talking about. So it's really about ensuring that you have that you have different places or different ways to receive money, different accounts into which that money can fall, so that you're always able to sustain yourself, because you're more creative. I promise you're more creative. The distraught artist thing, let go of that. You're more creative when you actually are lucratively looked after, which is a sentence I'm going to have to write at some point in some way. So here's the thing. We're talking about you building a portfolio business where your message, where your IP are repurposed into different formats, the written, the spoken, the coached, really kind of expanding that out and giving a blend to what you do, so that if one of those income streams gets taken away, we can ramp up the other ones and actively still have you be okay. Because when you do diversify and have this portfolio business, it creates a diverse product range, which then supports the different learning styles that might be out there, which means you've got a wider audience that actually goes into your melting pot. But also it supports different price points, and that means you're also reaching wider, because different people at different levels come in and can still partake of the wisdom that you actively have. In addition to that, it enables you to just not rely on that one product or service. I remember a mentor of mine told me, asked a group of us, he said, what's the most dangerous number in business? It's one client, one product, one source of income, one channel in some way. Diversifying and having more absolutely makes for sustainability and robustness. So that's actually what we want to do. And Kelly and I did actually do, as you know, we do a whole bunch of trainings. So Kelly and I actually did a different Facebook Live specifically on creating a portfolio style business. So if you want to check that out, that's the link that's just gone in there just now. So far, so good. So let me take you, I'm a big fan of why. So let me take you back through to the very beginning and go, so why should you strive? Because it is, don't get me wrong, putting in a new income stream on top of what you've already had takes time, it takes effort, but it's well worth it. So why should you make that time and effort available? Well, as we've definitely experienced through 2020 and indeed into 2021, you just never know where trends or events are going to go, right? 2 seconds. And really what that means is, by necessity, Many of our speakers, authors, and coaches, those who are members within the Connection Hub, which is the group that we've got where all the conversations take place, we're hearing over and over again that many, by necessity, have absolutely had to go out, exactly as May was just saying. Waitressing or indeed receptioning might well be some of the things that people have actually gone and done. But they have actually had to go and get a second or a third stream of income just to make up for the shortfall that actually was going in there. Now, that isn't something that we have all necessarily chosen, but it's something that has happened. And many have actually flourished, while some are still in that kind of turning the boat phase where it's still coming together and new income streams are coming in, but they're still being formulated as you go. And that's part of the whole thing as well. Um, so what we're saying really is that by building a portfolio business, it puts some robustness in and we can safeguard ourselves. And that's really important. And that allows us to then weather the storms that go on outside of us. It puts you, sort of, for those of you who've been in a room with me, you absolutely know that if I say go like this, who's in charge? You're in charge. It puts you in charge of feeling like you are sustainably growing your business, but also taking care of you and yours. So, the context right now, if you think about it, COVID has had an impact on so many speaker, author, coach businesses. Many people have pivoted. We've talked a lot about that. Most of us don't like the word anymore. The shifts, the 180-degree turns, like from a fully in-person roster that you used to go out to places, suddenly here you are sitting at home creating, having carved out some kind of space for yourself. That's a big turnaround. We've seen so many collaborations start to really come in where people have gone, hang on a minute, how do we do this together in such a way? Partly because it's less lonely that way because we're not going out and seeing people, but also the creativity that comes from what can we do together. We've seen a lot of that go on in the Connection Hub, probably more so than we've ever seen in the 3 years that we've had it going. And there's really never been a better time to be on the lookout for people that you can work alongside, people that you can work with, where you can lend your talents and expertise through to somebody else's thing that might just be a solution for the companies, for the businesses that might actually need you, particularly for those of you who are working in the corporate environment. The other thing is that sort of in terms of the trends that are going on around us, interest rates are really low and people are feeling really protective and unsure. So you go, okay, well, how are you going to invest what you actually have? What are you going to invest it in? Because there's always something. So shoring up and building up the different ways of getting income in is absolutely vital. So for those of you who are watching, whether you're doing the hashtag replay, do a little hashtag replay because we do like that. Answer in here because it's definitely going to inspire everyone. You are such a creative lot that I'm sure that there are many things that Kelly and I would just never have thought of that you're actually doing. So please do share them as you go. How else are you making money? Not necessarily through your business, but with the additional streams that you've got. So let's get it a little bit more tangible for you. How do you start with this? As speakers, authors, and coaches, you are, of course, perfectly placed to package your knowledge. It's all about what have you got in here and really start selling that. And what better way to do it than an online course? Because really, truly, that brings in a level of income that doesn't involve you being there other than you having created it in the first place and then doing a little bit to put the marketing in. But you may actually be a writer, for example, but are you also someone that mentors other people to write? Could you take the information about how you mentor somebody else in writing and actually turn that into a course? At the start of COVID, in March, in the March lockdown here in the UK, Kelly and I absolutely switched tack, as most people were. And in the space of about 3 weeks, we across two houses, which was quite fun and interesting, we actively created the How to Deliver Digitally course, on the back of which several people have now actually created their own online courses. So I'm going to put that in because that is an obvious first source of multiple streams of income for you. It's that diversifying, it's that beginning to actually create technically more of the portfolio type business where you are using your expertise, but you are turning it into a different product that can actually kind of do its work without you being present for it. So please, please, please do consider, what have you got? What have you been sitting on? What have you got half written that you actually could just make a little bit of effort on, and make that your focus for the rest of this quarter, and say, right, I'm gonna actually get this course done, because that's going to really support and help you. Maybe a different version of it, and we've seen a couple of people do this as well. People like Fiona Colburn Brown, and oh gosh, your name escapes me. It begins with an L. Anyway, I'll get there. Business mentors, people who used to go out or who used to host networking things, who now run and have specifically ramped up the online and indeed offline when we're allowed again, but the online networking meetings that they're doing, and have actually kind of niched into that. And so again, it's this mixing desk thing of, I'm not able to do this anymore, so I've ramped that down, and I'm going to ramp this up and actively start to do that. So start to think about, even in my capacity in the business that I'm running right now, what could I do? What could I add that allows me to pull in different sources of income through that one business? And then we'll talk about the separate income streams that also come in. So this really is, so the call here, the first port of call is, start to grab a sheet, make a list of all the talents, all the skills that you've got, those that you're using and really utilizing, and those that you're underutilizing. What are you hiding under your bushel, so to speak, that you still could be making more of? Look at what the distinct earning potential actually is. What have you actually got that you are sitting on, that you've probably been sitting on for a little while, that with a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of effort, you could actually get out into the world, so that it provides that sustainable, secure second stream, or at least a diversified portfolio type stream within the business that you're actually running. So I'm going to get tangible with you here. So that's just to get you thinking about it. But let me get you tangible now. The first bit really is to say, which one of your streams, if you're already running streams, which one of your streams is where your primary income comes from? That's quite an important thing to know, because you want to be understanding, what is it that I need to supplement? How much more would I actually like? So where does most of your money come from? Obviously, I'm not necessarily suggesting that you actively share that in here, but feel free to if you're that way inclined. But knowing where most of your money comes from, knowing where the product in your business right now is the thing that actually is most desired and wanted, where most of the income is coming from, that's good information. Being a great money manager, it really comes down to the details around, where's it all coming from, where's it all going. So if we can actively know that your primary income is enough for you to sustain you, that's reassuring, but that also needs securing, because we never know what else is going to happen, right? Not that I want to be doom and gloomy about this, but does your business actively make enough over and above what's required by you and your business to keep yourselves going? So if it does, brilliant and amazing. If it doesn't, know what the shortfall is, so that we can actually start to go, okay, well, what else can I put in place that actually allows that to happen? But if it makes more than enough, then start to think about, okay, well, what can be invested into other income streams, into creating these other income streams? For us speakers, authors, and coaches, that's likely to be, if you're doing the portfolio bit within the business and shoring up the business first off, it might well be that investment. In fact, actually, I was talking to a coachee just this morning who literally just went and bought two extra monitors and the cables to go with it, so that they could actively start to really serve the clients that they have better because of what they're looking at. So that's an investment. That was a smallish investment in the business that creates, or will allow her to create, a second product that allows something to come in. So what do you need that you need, that you could make space and time for, that you could actually either save up for, or indeed let the business invest in for you right now, if the business business has got it, because we sometimes need to spend to generate, and that is absolutely fine. Maybe it is those lights that you actually want to use so you can film into the evening, or those types of things. But if we're talking about creating courses, what do you need to make that happen? If we're talking about setting up your YouTube channel, might you need sort of a little bit of background kind of attention, for example? So you get where I'm kind of going with this. It's the, what can I be setting up and what's required by that for, sort of within the business? And have I got the money to invest in that? What would it take for me to get the money to invest in that, so that this business can invest in the next stream of income that's coming in? So really, I'm talking about, where's your primary income coming from? Have you got enough coming through from that? Is there excess so that you can invest in others? If there isn't, what could you add that actively allows this business to shore itself back up? So we get one set, and then we work on the next one. So let's talk about those next ones. So what are some of the ways that you can make some secondary income? So your alternatives, and again, this is a non-exhaustive list. Please add your own, sort of so that you inspire everybody else. But there are side hustles that you can make. So what else is going to bring in some steady cash, some steady money for you? There are all sorts of side hustles that you can actively do that don't take a lot of time. They might be a 4 hours a week type of thing. Sort of, I know some people who are actively doing reading. I thought this was genius, by the way. They are actively reading bedtime stories and doing virtual babysitting, if that makes sense, so that date night can still happen in the house, but the children are being babysat in a different room that is actually going on. Like, how smart is that? So just literally reading stories, playing games, and that kind of thing. Now, is that going to be a great big money spinner for you? No, not necessarily. But is it a great use of time that actively indicates to your universe that you are willing to do what it takes to bring in the additional revenue that you want? Yes, it is. And quite frankly, for my money, I think that sounds kind of fun. If I could just sit here and read to others books that I'm absolutely loving, and or play games and get paid for it, what's not to love about that, right? So get creative is what I'm saying. You're probably all thinking I'm really crazy, and no, I'm not offering my babysitting services to everybody. I'm just saying that right now. But what are some of the more crazy ways that you could make money? The creative projects that you've been holding back from, or the people that you collaboratively might really want to work with, but that you're not quite sure how to approach. What might you teach to somebody? What might you create? What, maybe you're a crafty sort. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's time to set up that Etsy shop that you have always wanted to. Maybe you actually like to, I don't know, do sewing on the side or something along those lines. It's an entirely different income stream from what you do that might actually have something to do with things that you love. My sister, I'm trying to encourage her at the moment, has become really good at knitting, as many people have during COVID times. Could you actually continue creating in that way, but let your creations go out in the world through a little Etsy shop, or sort of actually signing up to somewhere like Not on the High Street? Who knows, right? So I want you to kind of go crazy and go big, because all these are only ideas, and you then get to choose them. So I hope you don't think I'm mad. I'm just trying to inspire you to really say, what else can you put in that allows you to create a sustainable, robust life and living for yourself, right? Now, here's an interesting one. I'm coaching pair of sisters at the moment, who are running a franchise business, and this one is actually one where you can take a look at, okay, so my hours either enforcedly have been reduced, and or you could choose to reduce your hours in a certain thing because you have some other project that's kind of taking up your attention right here. So what do I mean by that? Making room for another project, allocating time to that project is a great way to really begin to pull in a multiple stream of income. So these two sisters, they're working on their primary business right now. We're streamlining all sorts of things. And as part of that streamlining, we unearthed this cracking project that definitely is right in its infancy. It's right at the very beginning of it, but they haven't been putting time and space aside for it. So how can an idea that has legs, that absolutely has potential, how can it actually do what it needs to do if you're not giving it space and time? So what we've done is we've made sure somewhere in the working month that now from here on in, one whole day of their time is going to be allocated to this new project. For the next 6 months, that's what they're going to allocate, because they're still growing and tweaking the current business that's bringing in most of it for them. But only by allocating a day will they actually start being able to do more with it. From 6 months forward onwards, I'll try that one again. From 6 months on, they are going to be moving forward by allocating 2 days, hopefully, to this project, because that's the time and attention that it actually requires. So sometimes a multiple stream of income, an entirely new business, needs the space and time, needs you to pay attention to the current business, to the one that's giving you the primary source of income, but you actively have to also allocate time and attention to the new thing, and you need to give it proper space and time. So if you've got something like that, take a little step back and go, what am I willing to reduce my hours on in this business in order to actually ramp up and build this second stream of income or second business? I hope that actually makes sense for you. Because the main business is really being put on notice to say, we're streamlining how this one works so that we can accommodate the both and of this. This is my favorite words. Well, they are my favorite words anyway, but they are coming very relevant in all the vision board workshops that I'm running at the moment. Both and is exactly what multiple streams of income is all about. So to give you a little bit more around that, here another example. Josefa is one of our one of our Connection Hub members, and she is a renowned trainer, an international trainer who used to be hopping on planes in all sorts of ways, and actually has had a real pivot and has managed to really kind of streamline what she's doing as a remotely working training person now. But the other side hustle that she has is that she's a voiceover artist, and that's actually become more of a primary focus for her because she's actually been at home more. So those two streams of income are actually coming in. So again, just giving you some examples that allow you to do that. I'm just actually going to grab a link here, because for those of you who are thinking, I can't think up all of these different ways, we did that for you. Kelly and I created this fantastic thing, which I'm going to pop in the link right here. I say fantastic because they are 33 ways that you can monetize your message. You, as a speaker, author, or coach, as a person who wants to kind of create a positive impact in the world, to influence people in some way, you can take that, the skills, the talents that you have, and we've got 33 ways you can download this, 33 ways that you could make the most of those skills and talents. What are you going to do next that allows you to do this? The voiceover artist is just one of the things that is actually on that list. And that's exactly what Josefa, which, if you think about it, as speakers, we're using our voices all of the time. Maybe that's something that you could look into, right? So here's the thing. With any multiple streams of income piece, as I've just said about the sisters, it's always a juggle, and you've got to make some choices around that. It absolutely is determining what you are going to put your time and effort into in terms of this new stream of income that you've got. So for some of you, that's actually going to be an entirely different thing around income, around investments or property. So taking property first, having rental income come through may actually be one of the safeguarding pieces that is another stream of income for you that goes into your business. Two of my clients at the moment have actually set up something that allows people to invest in the property business in a really safe way that still gives a 5% return, which is much better than the 0.01% return that we're getting from the banks at the moment. So again, it's this, how can I make my money make money? But also, how can you set up something that helps other people make their money make money? So that's another example of how can we creatively really support people. This particular one, is really great because it actually allows people like speakers, authors, and coaches who, in the eyes of mortgages and stuff like that, may not actually be eligible on paper, but this company actually allows people who aren't mortgageable to get mortgages, which is really great. So, there's some ethics around where you're going to put your money as well. But making your money do work for you, which might include angel investing. It might actually be that you might lend invest in a micro loan to a particular business for people who are actively sort of starting up their own course, their own business in some way. You might actually want to do it in that way. If you've got more, become an angel investor. That's another stream of income that actually comes in for you. I've been playing with that this year, and it's very satisfying. So again, what else is possible? Keep asking that question. What else is possible? I think my favorite, I know I'm just throwing things at you, but I just want you to be able to be taken care of, right? So, one of my favorite things that I'm seeing more and more, that we're definitely seeing more and more, is the growth of the collaborations and the joint ventures that are actually going on. So, sometimes the question around putting in different income streams is not so much is not what you can do for you or what you can individually do. It might actually be what can I do, what skills do I have that I could do for somebody else's team. We've seen a whole bunch of people come together, where they're using their skills and expertise to organize. For example, one of the coaches that we sorry, one of the clients that we coach, that's a better way of saying it. One of the clients that we coach, they've actually found somebody who's really good at organizing and accountability and the systems for tracking that have actually become part of the business mentoring that they do, because that's a bit that they weren't really good at. But together, these two are now actually working, and that's kind of becoming the dream team, for example. So what expertise do you have that comes naturally to you that you could lend to somebody else in a JV or a joint venture, or indeed a collaboration that allows you to do something on a longer term basis? That would be an income stream that you didn't have before, that is actively part of what you do. For some of you, it might be as simple as this. We're sat here on Facebook right now. You might love to go into groups. You might love to be on Facebook. What if you could become paid as a moderator for groups that actively go, that for the much larger groups? Maybe you would love to get paid for being in groups, doing what you naturally do anyway. So start to think laterally, start to think wider around, how could I monetize the skills, the love, the passion, the hobbies that I've actually got? And on the same track, but starting slightly differently, if you've got larger networks that you're part of, could you be sharing affiliate products with those people? Maybe you've got a network that you could really provide sponsorship opportunities into, or that you could share some affiliate deals into. That's another way of making money that wasn't part of the original business as such. So I'm hoping that I'm offering you a whole bunch of thinking that allows you to go, well, what else? What other income streams could I actively put in here? And so, final pieces, I'm going to wrap it up because I'm in danger of going on for as long as we normally do. Whether there's one of us or two of us, you're pretty much always going to get about 45 minutes worth of hopefully juicy information that you can take something away with. If you've taken something away already, please do let me know what that is, because that will make me very happy, that I'm not just sat here talking at you. But this is really how to do it, because some of you may well still be a bit hesitant around, but can I really? I'm just focused on creating this one business. Do I need to be putting time and attention into creating these other income streams? Our recommendation is to say yes, but to not make it hard for yourself. So the first place to really start with that is Don't wait for other people to see your value. Reach out and offer that value. So do that thing that I said about 10 minutes ago, where you make a list of your talents and your skills and you go, what can I offer? What have I got that's available? And then acknowledge the value that that might bring. Acknowledge what it's easy for you to do, and acknowledge what you already create or what you can create, because those are things that other people might just need. Whether that is you setting up something separately, or whether that is you going and offering you to somebody else's environment, that might be a good way of doing it. So that's one thing to do. So don't wait for others to see your value. Make a list of them. Start to actively go, how can I make this work for me? The second thing is really identify, ask yourself this question: what can I add in person, whether it's in person online like this, actually online, or indeed with others? If you ask just that question, that's going to explode or expand your thinking around, okay, well, what else is possible? That is, by the way, one of my favorite questions. So what else is possible? Just sit in the energy of that for a while, that says, okay, I want to bring in multiple streams of income or different levels of income within my business. I want to create a more portfolio led business. What else is possible? What else can I add? So if you're a speaker, then ensuring that you've got the right equipment, the software, the skills to deliver virtually is really essential at the moment. If you don't feel confident about that, then what can you do? What else is possible? What can you do to get more confident about it so that you can deliver your goodness virtually in a really professional way? So yes, it requires time and effort from you, but isn't it worth it? So final link for you, because we of course have done a training on how you sweat those assets. So I am just going to pop this in here as well, because we did this specifically around how to make money from your book. But for some of you who are watching, you've probably not been, over the last year or so, actively promoting your book or making the most of it in some way. So we want you to be just really continuously thinking about, what else can I put in the limelight? What else can I put time and attention into that means it's a line on my P&L, on my profit and loss account? It's a line in my multiple streams of income that allow me, or in my one business that has this portfolio element of it, that are differently delivered, that means that you are more robustly taken care of. I know I'm using that word a lot today, but this really is about you taking charge of the robust sustainability of your financials. And so hopefully you've now got a whole bunch of things that you could be thinking about doing that just adds a different stream of income that allows you to feel safer in the world, and therefore more able to create and give back, give of the influence and the impact that we know that you can make. Because here's the thing: money isn't just cash. It can be all the different forms of money that come in. It can be the collaborations that come at you. It can absolutely be about you simply choosing to be willing to have the money. And I know I've used the word money a lot today, and that's a good thing, because we really do want you to be focused on, how could I generate even more so that I can generate even more? That's your lot. I hope you've gotten something from it. I think I might have been speaking or educating a lot. I'm going to take the fact that none of you have actually kind of written anything to us in the way that we normally sort of do, as I've just been very useful to you. I'm choosing to see it in that way. I wish you a really good, productive, effective, efficient week, doing a little bit of thinking about what else is possible in the realms of me creating multiple streams of income. Have a brilliant and wonderful afternoon. And we will see you next week.